Hello, welcome to the Soulprint Mini for September 31st. There was a mini released yesterday on the 30th regarding guns and gun control and gun violence in the United States, in case you missed it and would like to check it out. Also, don't forget that tomorrow, Friday, is Pendulum Friday, so please list your questions in the comment section below so that I can sort of compile them and go through them for Friday's video. All right. So as I mentioned briefly yesterday, this is going to be a channeled reading, and the question of the reading is really about whether or not democracy can be saved, particularly in the United States, because even though it appears that the country is really heading in the right direction, there's definitely that energy um, of people and unfortunately politicians who seem to be just hell bent on destroying it, um, despite the fact that that is not accurate to the oath they took of office. So let's ask, shall we, Spirit? What does democracy look like in the United States as we go forward? Can it be saved? Is it safe? And is it going to become strengthened, or is it going to become, weakened? It's always important to remember that democracy, as created by your founding fathers, was about a hope, a wish, a desire. But at no point was it ever guaranteed. There is a reason, a logic, and an instruction to the phrase, we the people, by the people, for the people. You'll notice it isn't we the politicians, by the politicians, for the politicians. But over time, that seems to, in many ways, have become more and more the case, where the politicians are running around sort of unchecked, and their higher priority has been what suits them, what enriches them, what keeps them in office, um, and keeping the people sort of in the dark or a little bit blinded, um, and sometimes just plain bamboozled. So people get confused and they're going like, forget it, I can't sort this out. I'm just leave it to them. They must know what they're doing. That unfortunately has been a strategy, particularly that has taken hold as capitalism has increased and become sort of the cornerstone or the foundational stone of the country. Because when you put profit first, it that means people are not first. And when you put profit first, that means profit and corporations and lobbyists and politicians are all first before the people. So, not unlike what was said yesterday with regards to, getting sensible gun control in, is that it again is incumbent on we, the people, to make their voices heard. Now, we watch over all of it, and we appreciate that not everybody has the energy to make their voices heard. Maybe going to protest isn't going to work for you. But there are so many other options and ways to make your voices heard. And of course, light workers, it again becomes incumbent on you and those around you to do the work, to bring the light so that things can be exposed and corrected and changed and rise new. So the short answer to the question is sure, of course, democracies can and will and should be saved in the United States. But it is about the will of the people. It is about people who want their democracy to be saved, to not just say it's going to be fine, but there is a need for it's going to be fine because I'm going to do my part, whatever that part is and however that looks. It is becoming more and more apparent, particularly with all of the legal, political kind of shenanigans that are going on, that it is the loud voices that are getting the attention, getting the focus. And it is the quieter Democrats who just go along and they do their job who are not being focused on, because while it's certainly more important, like an accident on the side of a highway, it doesn't attract your attention. So it's very important to support the politicians who are doing the right things, who are running the country, who are treating the country the way you want it to be treated. And they are honoring democracy the way it was intended. That becomes incredibly vital as the next years within this decade roll on. It's going to be very, very important that in the next 6.5 years, that there's a focus on people putting their foot down and saying that's enough. And again, you see young people getting very involved. You certainly see people reacting very strongly to things like the abortion issue, women's health care issues, to gun violence. That needs to continue to build energy and momentum. And so it will, because your heart and your passion and your pride in the country must become front and center. It must become the focus. The energy of this decade has to do with seeing the destruction, seeing the corruption, and moving with clarity and force in a corrective direction. That was the former guy's purpose. He was so corrupt and shattered so many norms. That was his purpose. It was to draw attention to all the things that really hadn't been looked at. People weren't paying attention to. But now it is about making sure that loud kind of crazy voice, that they are quieted. And you can't sometimes quiet voices like that, so the only answer is to drown them out. Again, the United States is 3 million strong. And you're talking about maybe 15 to 25 million people who were just totally enamored with Trump. It's all the rest. It's a 275 million, okay? This is your country. And it's important that you make sure that your politicians know that you're watching them and that you expect them to honor the Constitution, which is what they have vowed, taken an oath to honor. We also just want to let you know, because sometimes it's very frustrating, but we do want to let you know that there are significant changes that are going to become to your Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, and it will become more balanced. And make no mistake, and this is not only the Supreme Court of the United States, but this also applies to Supreme Courts in red states. As more Democrats are put on those courts, or more independents, what you're going to see is Republicans who are on the court, who are finally feeling their power slipping away, pushing back and fighting back. And again, that becomes we the people. So, yes, democracy can be saved. Yes, the court systems are going to be corrected. And yes, it is a collective effort by everyone to help put the country back on its corrected and more enlightened and more light-filled path. Thank you very, very much for being here. Bye now.